at du.edu or at du.edu/socialwork/fourcorners. (8:53) Monday morning here on KSJE, and it's time to talk technology on our Monday Reboot segment. That's when I'm joined by Lewis Campbell from Cintigy Computer Systems. He is joining us on a video link this morning to talking about technology. Lewis, good morning. Good to have you back.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. We can see you and we can hear you, so all of our stuff is working here. So what's been going on this last week, technology-wise?
Well, there's a number of things going on. A lot of stories about Apple AirTags.
Right.
And then of course, Facebook is seeing some trouble, and there was a big Bitcoin thievery thing going on. So, pick your choice.
Right. Well, let's talk about these AirTags, because those have been in the news for a while. This is an Apple product that, well, you tell me. No, it's not is it an Apple product?
It is an Apple product.
Okay.
It's like a little coin. It's like a little coin size thing.
That's right.
And wherever you put it, you can later on use your phone to figure out where it is. Right. So
right.
The intent was to use it to keep track of things so you don't lose them. Right. But there's so many different weird things that they've been being used for. Some of them that don't seem all that great. So people who have very expensive cars have found AirTags stuck to their cars that weren't theirs. Like,
oops.
Somebody was tracking their expensive cars. And the big controversy with them is they've been used for stalking. So, like, different people, I would say mostly women, have been finding AirTags that aren't theirs in their stuff, and come to find out that a stalker was using them to keep track of who they were, or an ex-boyfriend or something like that. The one story that I saw recently that was very interesting was actually a positive use of these. So, military people move all the time, right? And they go from base to base. So when that happens, they get movers and do all that stuff. Well, this lady that was moving, she was the wife of a military person. She lost one of her AirTags, and it happened to be in her son's toys. She didn't realize it until later, but it ended up in the moving boxes. And so, she's at her new place, and they're waiting for the movers to come, and the driver of the moving truck calls and says, "Oh, it's going to be another week," blah blah blah. Turns out he was only a few hours away, and he was just lying so he could spend time visiting his girlfriend or something like that. And of course, the wife looked it up on her phone. She saw it was a few hours away, so she called him back and "Hey, you're just a few hours away. You're lying to me." And that.
Oops.
So that was kind of an interesting little deal. But yeah, there's been a lot of this stuff back and forth about AirTags.
Okay, and not to pile on Apple today, but why not? They're in trouble with the courts about their App Store.
Oh yeah, so that's another thing. It's like, is this going to be? So the App Store, the courts in Europe actually, they were fine, and there was a law. So GDPR in Europe, the privacy law, was interpreted by one of the courts in a ruling against Apple that basically said their App Store violates that law, and in order for them to get past that, they have to open up the App Store, right? They can't keep it locked. So Apple's response to that was to basically slap a huge commission on top of apps. So if you're a developer and you're making an app you want to sell on the Apple Store, they originally said it was going to be 30%. They went ahead and backed it off to 27%, and the developer community was like, whoop-de-doo. And then they've slapped a bunch of rules on developers. So basically, just one of the rules is they have to make a whole different version of their apps for that particular European market.
Interesting. Okay.
So the developers are like, this is ridiculous, and so it's going back and forth.
Huh. Yeah. So what do you think about that? I mean, for me, I feel better getting. I guess the idea is that Apple wants to just have some control over these apps and doesn't want third-party apps to get onto phones that could have malicious other stuff in there, but they also just could be from third-party vendors, I guess. And for me, I think I feel safer when I download something from my phone's OS store, knowing that it's gone through at least some maybe security checks or something, right?
That's one of the reasons that Apple has always stood up, and companies that do keep their software closed, including Microsoft, and their hardware closed, which is Apple, have always used that as a reason to do that. Because it theoretically enhances security.
Yeah.
And it does in the sense that they keep control over everything. But to me, and maybe I'm just a skeptic, but to me, I feel like the ultimate reason is to control the store and thus control their monopoly.
Well, that too. You're right.
I'm kind of half one, six of one, half a dozen of the other on that point.
Gotcha. Well, and Apple is famously known for locking down their. They're only Apple iPhones. They don't allow any other manufacturer to make an iPhone, or a PC, or a Mac,
yeah.
or a laptop. So that's what they're known for.
Well, a Mac.
Yeah, not a PC. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There was a whole commercial
that's okay.
series about that.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Sorry.
Yeah, but you're right. Very true. Well, Louis, I appreciate you being on the show this week again. Of course, it's always great to talk with you about technology every Monday, so thank you so much, but we are out of time.
All right. Well, thank you. Have a great week, everybody.
All right, you too. That is Louis Campbell, everyone. He is with Cintigy Computer Systems. He joins me on Mondays to talk technology during our Monday Reboot segment right here on KSJE Farmington. The ARC store in Farmington is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday for shopping and dropping off donations. Free pickup of usable donations is available if needed. All purchases are tax-free